my name is Elena Boelli. I've always been an AB honor roll student in high school. I try hard in school, I'm dedicated, I really care about the grades I get. When I took the ACT for the first time and received a score of 18, I was really disappointed and felt like I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. Then someone else I know, who has Ds in most of their classes and don't try in school, got a 24 on his ACT the first time he took it. This lowered my confidence even more, and I was actually pretty angry that someone who didn't even try got a better score than me. I know that I'm not the only one who this has happened to and got frustrated about it. So if you've experienced the same thing, maybe you thought the same thing I did about the ACT and SAT. The ACT and SAT doesn't really show your true academic ability and is unnecessary for college. I've done quite a bit of research over the ACT and SAT testing for a previous class and learned a lot of new information about the test, including another option schools have adapted to that eliminated the need for standardized tests. Today I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about how the ACT and SAT discriminates against minority groups, how the tests are unreliable, and why more schools should become test optional. The standardized test discriminates against minorities and tends to favor wealthier students who will only need minimal financial aid. There is proof that specifically African Americans have a lower test score average. According to an article in the Journal of Negro Education in 2014, national average for Black students on the ACT is 17 compared to 22 for white students. The national average for Black students on the SAT is 860 compared with 1061 for white students. Some say that the reason African American scores are lower is because they're portrayed to be less intelligent due to their culture and stereotypes. The discrimination has caused a major decline in the college enrollment of minority groups. When it comes to colleges preferring wealthier students, a college in North Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill, found that 72% of their undergraduate students came from a higher income household and 12% came from a lower income household. With discrimination also shows unreliability. There is no way for someone to make sure that they are going to be accepted or rejected from a college based on their race or their test score. The ACT and SAT only shows a score that you earned on one single test and shows nothing about your work ethic. People who don't work hard in school and get bad grades with a low GPA can get a high score just because they're good at guessing or have good luck. People who have bad scores and a high GPA could get a low score because they aren't good at taking tests, especially time tests. You could say that the ACT and SAT just show how good someone is at taking tests. Many schools have taken note of these issues and have become test optional. Test optional schools are schools that do not require you to take a standardized test at all, but you can still take one if you want to. So hundreds of students have already become test optional, and those schools have received very positive feedback. Ann B. McDormott, an admissions officer at the College of the Holy Cross, said since 2016, the percentage of first-year students admitted from outside New England went from 46% to 50%, and the proportion of African American, Latin American, Asian American, and Native American students went from 17% to 21%. When Holy Cross first became test optional, it received 41% more applications, and the number continues to increase. In 2006, the journal Women in Higher Education stated Bates College ME found that in its 20-year study of test optional admissions, the graduation rate of those who submitted scores differed by only 0.1% from students who did not submit them. Discrimination and unreliability are just a couple of the flaws the ACT and SAT have, and why more test optional schools would be a better option. All schools should eliminate an ACT or SAT score from the criteria needed for college admission and become test optional schools. When admitting students into a college, the best option is to consider their previous grades over the last 4 years of high school instead of relying on one test. Looking into past grades and GPAs shows what kind of effort and determination a student has put into his schoolwork and education and how much he is willing to work to have success in furthering his education. Looking at a test score doesn't show students' hard work. it shows how a student performed on one single test. If becoming test optional can have such a great impact on just one school like Holy Cross, imagine all of the great benefits there would be if all schools became test optional. More students, especially more minority group students, would attend college, significantly increasing the rate of students that go to college, which would then lead to into the college itself expanding, like adding more field options into their majors. Don't be intimidated by the ACT or SAT because you can go just as far in life without it than you could with it. Thank you for listening.